ぞ我が最強 I am Atomic.
Fall 22's in full swing right now and I'm having a blast. We got an awesome anime season on our hands now, and if you're not picking up one of the many amazing shows, then what are you doing? Watching seasonal anime is more fun when you're here for the ride week after week. No offense intended to people who prefer to binge, but the experience, the community factor, the discussions, it just hits different, man. So if you're in and want to pick up one of the many new anime that made their debut this fall season, then I'm here to help you out. For today's list, I'll go over what I think are some of the best new titles we got for this season. I know you want to talk about how awesome the new Bleach looks, but let's give these new titles some shine as well, shall we? Probably a surprise to some, but we'll start the list with Akiba Made War. A show that completely fell under my radar. It surprised me even more with what it turned out to be. Forget the marketing materials, forget all the promos that they've put out. This is nothing like the cute maid show that it's being advertised as, and that's actually pretty awesome. I guess I should have some hints from the title, but Akiba Made War is all sorts of chaos and craziness, but in a good way. It's a very high tempo, in-your-face shootout type show, something that probably reminds you more of, say, Black Lagoon in terms of its overall feel, and it grabs you and it never lets you go. Filled with non-stop over-the-top thrills and a great pace that will always keep you watching and wanting more. Akiba Made War is a surprise hit this early in the season for me. Coming up is Arknights, Prelude to Dawn.
お前たちに何ができる？口先だけの理想論者に何ができる？
Generally speaking, I've made it clear that I've warmed up to video game adaptations. Yeah, I know they're still kind of hit or miss at times, but if we're talking about shows related to a video game or created in order to promote another one, like Tact for example, there have been a lot more hits than misses now, especially compared to when I consumed the most of this medium, which was about a decade ago. Arknights has got a lot of treats and details that the players can definitely appreciate, but even for new watchers unfamiliar with the game, they can find something to love in terms of the battles and how crisp the world looks. The world and its detailing is stunning, and the story is also interesting enough to make you want more. It's very easy to tell that this has something to do with the mobile game, but what's not to say that long, expensive commercials are automatically mediocre? Up next is the rom-com More Than a Couple, Less Than Lovers.
行ってきますのキス。
後で怒るなよ
It's time for the season's mandatory easygoing rom-com with a dash of contrived and fake relationships. More Than a Couple, Less Than Lovers turned out to be pretty fun. Sure, it's not the most realistic show out there, as with a lot of school rom-coms featuring teen characters, and sure, it doesn't bring anything too eye-poppingly unique to the table, but when it comes to the things a rom-com should do well, like give us a nice dash of comedy, pretty visuals and a bunch of endearing characters, this one is definitely good. You have your set of characters who are so easy to root for, some great banter and interactions that leave you smiling either out of sweetness or laughter. Overall, it's a sweet romance that you could watch if you're into the genre. I think it's one of the things I can recommend this season in spite of it possibly ending up buried under the wave of big hits. Some have compared this to Love and Lies, so if you like that show, you should definitely check this one out. Don't go anywhere before we continue the show, as we thank today's sponsors, Raid. If you still don't know what Raid Shadow Legends is, it's a turn-based MMORPG that allows you to build and master over 600 champions, honing them and fielding the best combinations as you take on the challenges given by the interesting Raid dungeons, campaign battles and arena matches. I personally like the fact that there are so many champions to choose from. There are some cool-looking ones, with my top 3 favourite in terms of design probably being Minaya, Battle Sage and Astralon. Things are about to be shaken up a little though, as Raid just released a new faction, the Sylvan Watchers. It's about time that this game gets blessed with the presence of the RPG staple, the Elven faction featuring Ents, Elves, Druids and the like. Along with a fresh Forest Pass that can let you get some powerful gear, now's the time to finally jumpstart on playing Raid. Oh, and that's not all. If you happen to be an Amazon Prime member, Raid can also provide some cool and exclusive rewards just for you. So if you haven't started playing Raid yet for some reason, be sure to click my link or scan my QR code here to get started. In doing so, you'll get unique bonuses worth $30, a free epic champion called Aina, 200k silver, a free energy refill, an XP boost and an ancient shard, so what more do you need? And that's waiting for you right here. With an introductory package like that, there's no time like the present to come over and play Raid. We then have Reincarnated as a Sword. Instead of being reincarnated as a human being, a slime, or any living being, our protagonist here ends up becoming a sword. Reincarnated as a sword takes a pretty special premise in the large isekai genre and rolls with it thanks to it implementing elements of the coming-of-age story with its other protagonist, Fran. Unlike most OP protagonist isekai, Reincarnated as a sword makes the journey feel earned. It's all about the journey of growth, both of Fran's strength and the bond between her and the sword protagonist Shisho. Reincarnated as a sword may not be something that people talk about a lot now. Honestly, I don't think it'll have anything like SAO or ReZero level in terms of leaving behind a historical footprint, but it's a great show that even people who aren't fans of isekai could really enjoy. It's a show carried by the strength of its characters, and while they're not the most complex ones out there, you do get the urge to follow their journey and root for them. And for me, that's way more important than having super deep characters. What good are the latter if you can't get the audience to constantly root for them, right? Next up is Bocce the Rock. Every once in a while, we get this show that hits super hard thanks to the themes that a lot of us adolescents or young adults can relate to. Then they cap it off with characters that grab your heart through their relatability or simple charisma, all while they plow through life and fight their way to the top. A notable example of it was your boy Kong Ming, and I think I found the current season's equivalent. Bocce the Rock's main pitch, in my opinion, comes from the characters. A lot of us had dealt with social anxiety at some point to relate to her, and I think she just hits the ground running in terms of endearing herself to us. However, a main character alone can't carry a show like this, but the other characters do their fair share of heavy lifting by being colourful members of the cast who bring even more life to a show that's all about presenting a fantasized tale meant to hit close to home. And that's not even getting into the production side of things. Vivid colours that bring life to the world, great camera angles that enhance moments, and the constant visual gags that never feel out of place. Overall, Bocce the Rock is both inspirational and entertaining. Fans of Keion and Hitori Bocce would love this show. This could be the sleeper hit of the season. Next on the featured list is Romantic Killer.
なぜイケメンを床ドン
Now here's something we haven't gotten in a while. Being put in the situation of a reverse harem is likely not on Anzu Hoshino's day-to-day checklist, but here she is, and she has to survive the perils of social interaction with hot guys. And yet, it's her only way of returning to her old carefree life of video games, her cat, and snacks. It's a task as daunting as ever, especially with the super unpleasant Tsukasa being at the forefront of her quest. This show has turned out a lot better than I first expected actually, largely due to its execution. The comedy's pretty up there, and its way of doing reverse harem is pretty chill and casual, more like say an Ouran or Next Life as Villainess instead of those gritty period dramas that us veteran fans have often associated with the genre. If you're looking for what I consider to be the surprise of the season, then look no further than Romantic Killer. Been quite a ride, hasn't it? I didn't know what to expect of which from Mercury heading into the season, and I was still surprised to see the Gundam version of Utina. Any of you guys still remember that show? There's references everywhere that I feel is kind of intentional. It's not quite the Gundam we're accustomed to, but that's not entirely a bad thing here. With this new star comes some new frontiers that the franchise can explore, and the duels look like they have a lot of potential for more intricate plot threads such as manipulation. I can't wait to see where this is going to go. Overall, this is a new look at Gundam, and this could be the franchise's way of adapting to the modern trends of the world. Sure, it could catch some veteran fans off guard, but I'm still excited to see this new approach to making a Gundam anime. I do miss the wartime space operas of old, however. Eminence in Shadow is another great title.
妥協は許されない
It's great that in the same season we have two isekai that are complete opposites of each other in terms of execution and appeal. While Reincarnated as a Sword has that whole serious us against the world thing going for it, Eminence in Shadow takes the cheesiness and edgy coolness of the genre and turns it up to 11. But come on, would you deny that at least once in your life you had a fantasy not too different from Sid's? I sure found it really cool, and that's where most of the show derives its appeal from. I mean, it is pretty silly, but that's what gives it its charm. It does take a while to start up with the main plot, so that something you might want to watch out for. As far as the things shows of this nature typically focus on, such as the animation, the beautiful character designs and the voice acting, Eminence in Shadow impresses. Not blow you away type of awesome, but still in a way that tickles all those peripheral ones that fans of the genre have. Eminence in Shadow does have a specific niche, make no mistake about that, but if you fall into it, then don't miss out on this show.
遊びは終わりだ。
Let's get to the sports hit of the season now, Blue Lock. Blue Lock's also something that I was very excited about coming into the season. In one of the few times in anime, we have a sports show that looks to be quite bleak and cynical in execution. After having my fair share of haikyus and kurokos, it's quite the welcome change of pace. Regardless, I also tempered my expectations a bit with regards to the adaptation. But I shouldn't have. I got all I wanted, and then some. Battle shonen elements in an edgy battle royale disguised as a sports show? You can count me in for that. And that, my friends, is basically what you can expect. The whole thing's also animated and drawn really well to bring the intensity, so that's a plus factor, as these kinds of shows thrive on the production side of things. Anything to make the moments look and sound a lot more memorable while we head to the meat of things down the line. It also becomes a lot more cerebral and deceptively intelligent as the story goes on, so it's worth staying for the ride even if the first episodes haven't hooked you in yet. Finally, we have Chainsaw Man. Of course, we're not going to leave a full 2022 video without talking about the most hype offering the anime industry has for us this season. Dark, grotesque, super edgy and violent, Chainsaw Man has it all. It also has some stunning animation to help supplement the carnage you see on screen, and for people who like those things, the show is nothing but glorious. But for people who prefer other elements in anime, it's also got an intriguing story for you, as well as a whole slew of characters that keep you guessing. A lot of the characters, especially for someone I'll assume to be a new fan, have a lot underneath the surface. There's a lot to uncover, from the world to the charismatic cast that it's presented us. Chainsaw Man might not be a clear-cut anime of the season or anything like that, but it's definitely worth the wait and the hype. And that's my list. I hope you picked up a show or two to watch already. If you're interested in the top shows that I anticipated entering the season, however, you might want to check out the channel, go through my list of videos and find that specific one. And yes, you might also run into some lists that might interest you, so there is that too. And thanks once again to Raid for sponsoring this video. The link's in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.